Welcome, everyone. My name is Sean Higgins, and this is my wife and best friend, Lisa. And welcome to the new home of Mint Julep Tours. At Mint Julep Tours, our mission is the purpose of fun is to have some. And today we're going to have some. It's kind of nice to be in a place that we can consider home, not only for now, but for the long term. And it's been a great pleasure to have some of our distinguished guests here with us today to celebrate this. There's plenty of people to thank, but I'll do that in a moment. But I want to thank Don and Greg and Stacy for making it here today to celebrate with us. And we'll get this ball rolling with the distinguished mayor that we have. Greg and I have known each other since we were kids. I think we figured 10 or 12 years? Yeah, or close to 40 years. And our families have been friends for a long time. We all have a dream, and I believe a purpose in life. The hard part is figuring out what that purpose is. I believe our three dignitaries and I share the similar purpose. Not on the same level, certainly, as these three. But after successful business careers, we all are striving to make this place we call home the best community in the world for raising a family. My first guest, Mayor Fisher, has been a family friend for many years. He's not only created a culture of compassion, but also a community partnership built on respect with our vision for our future within the city of Louisville. He's an inspiring businessman to me that happens to be our inspiring mayor as well. Please welcome Greg Fisher.
Well, thanks everybody, and Sean and Lisa, congratulations on opening your new headquarters. I'm really proud of these guys because, as Sean said, we've known each other probably 45 years or so, and it's, you know, how you get years on you, Don. It's hard to believe you're that old. But it's wonderful to know each other from when we were kids to kind of following each other's careers and then seeing how we reinvent ourselves. And for what you all are doing is so important to what's happening in the city. So to know that you guys were innovators and kind of really pioneers in this space always made me feel really good. Because I said, as this takes off in our community, we need some great entrepreneurs to help us figure out where this is going to go. And it was important that we have somebody that can welcome people when they come to our town and treat them the right way. And I just knew that you guys would always do it in a five-star way. And to see that come to fruition here in this space as the next step in the journey is really affirming to me for our city and certainly for the great work that you guys have done. So it's great. So congratulations to you guys. And when we think about the timing of it right now, this is a great way to kick off Bourbon Heritage Month and celebrate the signature beverage that we have here in our city, which certainly has a rich history and a promising future, much like this company here and much like our city does as well. When we step back a little bit, and to me the tourism industry is kind of the filter or symbol to do that, because when people visit our city, I want them to have an authentic, one-of-a-kind experience. So history, obviously, is part of that. They want to understand that, but they want to be excited about coming to a place, too, to experience what we have to offer today, but also what the future looks like as well. So when you think about the past several years post-recession in our city, we've seen over $8 billion of investment in the city of Louisville. We've seen almost $150 million invested just in bourbon distilleries in the past couple years. And we've got 9 urban distilleries that are either open, under construction, or in the planning stages right now. So it's a tremendous example for the kind of transition that has taken place in our city, because great places have authentic assets. And when you think about us as a place and you think about our assets from architecture, our arts, our industries, and then great places also, they innovate. People would have said, how can you innovate bourbon, for instance? I mean, that's an industry that's 150 years old. How can you do something new with that? And when you see how the world is embracing this great spirit of bourbon and the kind of growth that's going on right now, is defied most industry experts. And I personally think that we're just in the very beginning stages of the bourbon renaissance. When you think about food, people say, how can you innovate food? And you see our city now is always in a top 10 list whenever food and foodie cities are mentioned all over the world. And it's that kind of partnership between food and bourbon, and I think confident people with egos that are under control that want to work together instead of saying, no, I'm the best and biggest person in the room. That's really what created bourbonism. And when you think about tourism and innovation, that's where bourbonism comes into place. And people need to see and experience bourbonism. And that's where Mint Julep Tours comes into place. And these guys having the vision to see how all that happened. So why I'm so excited about this is we really, as a city, have never had a 52-week-a-year tourism industry. We could kind of act like we did, but when tourists came here, they'd be like, okay, it was pretty good. But with what Mint Julep represents, what they do, with what bourbonism has got going on, with the Ali Center and all the other assets that we have now, people are saying, I'm going to Louisville for a week or a long weekend, with an exclamation point behind that, an excitement behind that. And frankly, that's a new spot for us in many cases. Tourism is great in Kentucky. Don's going to talk about that. This takes us to a whole nother level that we haven't had here before. So it's just great that we have entrepreneurs like Sean and Lisa capitalizing on this, and why we see Mint Julep Tours as such a critical, important partner for our city. So I want to say thank you to you guys, and as a mayor, I get to proclaim a lot of stuff. So I'm really happy to honor you guys. This is the city of Louisville honoring Sean and Lisa with Mint Julep Tours on your all's exciting expansion here in Butchertown. Since 2008, Sean and Lisa Higgins and their team have helped show the world the beauty of our region. They've also offered a safe and reliable way to explore Louisville's signature drink, which of course is bourbon. Mint Julep Tours has played an important role in the expansion of bourbonism, and it's fitting that this company is growing into a magnificent new home. So a proud city celebrates Mint Julep Tours expansion and wishes you all and your employees the best in this new space. So congratulations. We're really proud of you guys.
Thank you, Greg. Our next guest has served as a very successful business leader within Kentucky for one of our Fortune 100 or 500 companies before accepting a job he is passionate about. I met Don and his wife Libby at an event when it was first announced that he was going to take over the reins, and I can't tell you how endearing and enjoyable that evening was that we spent at the Muhammad Ali Center, and I'm so glad that you were both able to make it. He serves as the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Arts, and Heritage for Kentucky. So please allow me to honorably introduce Secretary Don Parkinson.
Well, it's really not surprising to see them grow into a big facility like this. My wife and I met Lisa and Sean on a cold night in January at the Muhammad Ali Center, and we had the American Bus Association in town. At the front door, there were Lisa and Sean shaking hands and trying to make a deal with everyone who walked in. So it's not surprising you have this great facility. Tourism is growing very, very rapidly in Kentucky. We're up 11% over last year. And it's a very profitable business for everyone involved in it, and it's growing very rapidly. It is the third biggest industry in the state, behind automobiles and healthcare, and it's going to continue to grow. And when you see what they have done, we would not be able to grow like this in tourism in Kentucky if it were not like Mint Julep Tours to help bring people around, to get around to see some of these bourbon operations, which is growing so fast. We have 39 distilleries right now in Kentucky, and there are 2 more under construction. We have friends from San Francisco who have been in the liquor business for years and years, and they have come to Bardstown to make a big bet to build a distillery, because they have this very strong, passionate belief that bourbon in central Kentucky is going to be the next Napa Valley, which is pretty good news for all of us. But we have 900,000 people coming from bourbon. We have a lot more people coming, and the horse trails continues to grow so fast as it has been in the last few years. But it is a great business to be in, and they're taking advantage of all the opportunities. We're very proud of what you all have done. So thank you all, and congratulations. Thank you, Sean. Thanks, Lisa.
Now comes one of my favorite parts of the night. I'm so honored to introduce Stacy Yates. She is a friend, mentor, and city leader with the Louisville Convention and Visitors Bureau. In 2007, I remember her joining us in a Galt House room and talked about the vision of Mint Julep Tours. It was quite a cocktail hour, as I recall, as well. Since then, she has helped guide us, teach us, and support us about what we do and how we do it. And without her support and friendship, I don't know that we would have been as successful. We had 3 true friends when we started this business. One was Stacy, one was the city, and one was Bill Samuels. And we wouldn't have been able to do any of this without all 3 of those partners. I believe she can lay claim to the original thought of this thing we call the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. She's an unsung hero in our industries, and there's a lot of others to take claim for things that she's been able to accomplish. She is currently Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications for the Louisville Convention and Visitors Bureau. Please welcome Ms. Stacy Yates.
Wow. I don't know what to say to that, but thank you. Well, first of all, you did give me a promotion. I'm not senior, but let's let Karen know that. Maybe y'all can give her a call. And mentor, really? I'm younger than you. Come on. But thank you. I am incredibly proud to be here tonight. I came back from an event we're actually doing right now in Chicago to promote bourbon. We spent the last couple of days there on a media blitz with travel writers trying to get them to talk about it and our great city. I'm especially honored to be here, not just because Elisa and Sean have become very good friends, but because I feel like it's more than a celebration of a business relocation. I feel like it's truly, especially in Bourbon Heritage Month, a chance to salute 2 of the people and a company that have truly helped redefine Louisville's tourism experience. Not just Louisville's tourism experience, Louisville's culture in a way. And I'll have to just go back in time a little bit to explain a little more about how I think that came to be. And Sean's right, I remember that hotel room, not that we shared, it was just a place, it was an office space, talking about his vision back in 2007. You've got to go back in time with me a little bit to remember this was before bourbon was a thing here. And I don't mean that we didn't know that we created it, 95% of the world's supply of it, and I don't mean that we didn't know that we drank a lot of it, right? But it really wasn't a thing, at least in Louisville. It certainly wasn't an experience, other than going to get a cocktail or drinking a mint julep on Derby Day, right? It wasn't a thing at all. Sean had heard that in our little tourism office, we launched a little marketing campaign trying to position Louisville as a gateway to bourbon country. And we were doing that because, like the mayor said, we were just looking for some different ways of differentiation for the city, trying to find those authentic things that made us stand out from our competition, from all the cities around the world that we compete with for tourism dollars, whether they're going to come here for a leisure visit or a convention visit or what have you. So what were those authentic things? And we were kind of scratching our heads like, well, why aren't we using this bourbon thing? Well, Sean heard about it and came to us, hence the meeting at the Galt House. And he truly was a visionary, because without him and Lisa and what they've done, we couldn't have done in tourism what we have done. And what I mean by that is, if you remember, as the mayor talked about, we've got a lot of bourbon buzz right now. But this was before we had 6 bourbon attractions in Louisville. This was before we had 36 stops on an urban bourbon trail. We didn't really have anything, again, other than the heritage and the culture and the history. But we didn't have anything that we were doing to celebrate it here, so we kind of didn't have anything to talk about. So Sean came to us with this idea of a transportation company, and we were like, yeah, great idea. Let's have these daily departures from our visitor center, taking people out to the countryside of the bourbon tours, and then back in the evening, just spend the night in Louisville. Great idea, right? Yeah, not so great, at least back then. Great idea, it's just a little early. And so when I talk about visionaries, I think it's easy. Well, maybe it's not easy to start a business. I don't mean that. But I think it's easier now for people to see that bourbon is buzzing, to see that there's product development around it, and then launch a business. Again, not that it's easy to launch a business, but I think it's even more risky when you don't know the landscape of what you're getting into. And Sean and Lisa not only didn't know what the landscape was, because it didn't exist, they helped create that landscape. So they launched the Mint Julep tours to try to do these daily departures. It didn't work because as hard as we were all working to get the word out on bourbon, we just didn't have the numbers back then to sustain these daily departures. So there were some very thin years at the beginning, if I remember, and they really had to reshape their business model. So not only did they have the initial investment, going out on a wing and a prayer to launch the business, they had to reshape a business model that met with the demand at the time, which was not what we are enjoying now. So they kind of pivoted, went after convention business, went after contracting with groups, and building the tourism business. And really what I think they've come to specialize in is serving as a concierge service as well, which is what I think they probably do the best job at now. So they truly did help build this great bourbonism, thank you, Mayor, for that word, experience that we do have now. So bourbon may not have been a thing in 2007, but I think in Kentucky, and I know certainly in Louisville, it is a thing now. And Sean and Lisa and the whole staff at Mint Julep Tours are just a huge part of that. So in Bourbon Heritage Month, cheers to them. Thank you all.
Thank you, Stacy. I learned recently that when you talk publicly about something you love, it's easier to talk from the heart. But I didn't want to miss anything. So if you could bear with me, I've got a couple things I want to share with you about the people of Mint Julep and our company itself. And 2008 was a challenging year to start any business. So again, without the support of the city and Stacy and Bill, it wouldn't have happened. In 2007, we had a dream. We wanted to create a company that showed off what we loved about Louisville and Kentucky, allowed us to work together as a couple, and possibly create a company that our kids would be proud of and possibly wish to work with. We have accomplished all three, as Brendan and Riley both have graduated from college and come home to work and help us. And Bailey, although she's still off at college, she does intern with us every summer. So thanks, kids. I appreciate it. We launched in 2008 from a basement ping pong table, a small desk and a chair. We were able with the Convention and Visitors Bureau to wrap a bus, and we called it the official bourbon bus. And it was in our driveway, and our neighbors were quite inquisitive as to why a bourbon bus is sitting in your driveway all the time. I was the guide and the driver, and Lisa was the sales and financial wonder. We received a small business loan from the City of Louisville's Metro Development Loan Program, which we have now paid off, I'm happy to say. We had three fans, as I mentioned, the city, Stacy, and the LCVB, and Bill Samuels. We could not have done it without any of these three. When we got our first 23 passenger, we had 3 employees come into our house every morning, greeted by our 3 dogs, and we knew it was time to find a better place to office. And since then, we've moved around a little bit and enjoyed a stay in the Nulu area, which we loved and will miss. But we now feel like we have found a home. Some of the statistics is that we have averaged approximately 60% year-over-year growth since then. We've grown to 11 full-time employees and 27 part-time employees. We were selected by Google in 2015 to represent Kentucky for their Internet Economic Development Annual Report, Best of Breed. We were awarded the Certificate of Excellence by TripAdvisor from 2010 through 2015 for 5 consecutive years. We were recognized as the best guided drinking tours of America by Condé Nast. I want to recognize James Wilson. James, where are you? There's James. James is really happy with us because we've got a brand new garage that we helped build with the city's help. And James was our first Rose Award recipient for Mint Julep Tours. And he keeps our vehicles clean and nice and presentable for all to see. Thanks, James. It was interesting when this little bit of news in the past day came out about this grand reopening and celebration. I noticed we were published, that article was published the very same day in the International Travel News website. So this is a global company, this is a global industry, and we've got an incredible support team in place in Kentucky to help continue to grow this. These things are nice accomplishments, but it isn't really who we are. We're brand ambassadors for Kentucky, for Louisville, for bourbon, for hotels and restaurants, and our culinary environment. We are listed under responsible tourism for our Drink Responsibly initiative. I remember the first bumper on the bus was "Help us help you drink responsibly." You see, because one of the things that Stacy doesn't realize was when I found out that this Bourbon Trail thing, everybody was going to drive around and have drinks, I thought, well, we can't promote drinking and driving, so let's promote safe transportation, which we did. We handle over 400 calls a month through our website and our phones, and we talk to those 400 people, which we have a policy to talk to everyone on a monthly basis, and that represents anything from 200 to 500 people. This year we'll take over 20,000 people to visit our city and our state and the Bourbon Trail in 2016. So what we really are brand builders. We shape behaviors and opinions of our visiting guests, and the effects we see do amazing things. If I've seen this once, I've seen it 100 times on our TripAdvisors. A gentleman from Philadelphia: "If I knew how enjoyable this community was, I would have come sooner. But now that I've been here, I know I will be back soon, and I'll bring my friends." Visitors now call us. It's been a change in dynamics for us. Visitors now call us first to ensure our availability and look for our suggestions on where to go, what to see, where to stay, and what to eat. This helps us ensure all visitors comes as friends and leave as family. Our dream and our purpose is being fulfilled by the employees of Mint Julep Tours. We have been blessed by finding these passionate, caring, and service-oriented professionals who are a reflection of the hospitality within this community. If you could raise your hand, I sure would appreciate anybody that's with Mint Julep Tours. Mayor Gregg and Don, I'll suggest that these are the ambassadors, true ambassadors to the state and for the tourism industry at large, and I'm proud of everything that they do every day. With this new building and space, we can continue our mission and provide an event area for the benefit of assisting the tourism industry, nonprofits, as well as our first responder community. We are creating jobs, educating the tourists in a compassionate way, and therefore, Greg, we're hitting all of your stated goals. Now it's time for a toast. Would you mind handing out some of those mint juleps? We've got mint juleps, an old-fashioned in fitting tradition today for your enjoyment. I'll thank Sue Anna at Masterson's for providing this environment and the food for us. So I don't know who said that happy only lasts an hour. But here's to fun, family, and friends. Thanks to you all.